something like that.
Hey guys, how's it going? Seán here. So this is the Fender ACOUSTASONIC Stratocaster. It's an acoustic guitar with the body and the neck and the playability and comfort of a Fender Strat. But under the hood, it's also got 3 pickups and some pretty cool electronics designed in collaboration by Fender and Fishman pickups, which basically offer you a kind of curated collection of not only acoustic but also electric guitar tones, which is pretty cool. Thank you so much to the folks over at Fender who kindly sent me this guitar to check out. I've been playing it for the past month or so, just kind of getting comfortable with it, testing it out, and putting it through its paces. So what I thought I'd do today is produce a short track just using the ACOUSTASONIC for all of the guitar tones. And hopefully I can showcase how versatile this instrument can be in a production and songwriting and studio setting. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so I have this demo idea that I want to work on. I've already programmed in some drums and some bass. Here's what it sounds like. I have a melody and an idea in my head, but I'm going to start off by just laying down some simple acoustic rhythm guitars. I'm plugging the ACOUSTASONIC directly into my audio interface using one of the DI inputs, and I have the buffer size set low enough in my DAW that I can monitor myself with little to no latency so I can build up the track. I'm going to start in position 5A. This is a dreadnought style acoustic guitar with a mahogany body and a Sitka spruce top. Sounds like this. So in my session template, I've got a couple of send effects set up ready to go. So I'm just going to add some room reverb and some longer reverb as well, just for a bit of atmosphere, just so that the guitar isn't so dry while I'm tracking these parts. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to pan this to the left, and I'm going to duplicate the track, pan this one to the right, and I'm actually going to double track this acoustic part using position 5B. This is just a different sounding acoustic so that we have a bit of variation on the doubled part on the other side. All right, here we go. Alright, that performance wasn't perfect, but let's move on to track that melodic idea that I had. Okay, for this part I'm going to use some of the electric tones on the ACOUSTASONIC. So I've just switched to position 5A, which is like a warm single coil clean kind of tone. I've just inserted another audio track. Here's what the guitar sounds like straight from the ACOUSTASONIC. Rather than just use the acoustic tones right from the ACOUSTASONIC, I'm going to treat it like an actual electric guitar and run it through some amps and effects. So using Studio One's built-in Ampere software, I've just dialed in this tone. It's using kind of a British crunch style amp, and I just have some chorus dialed in here. Sounds like this. And just because I'm treating this like a production session the way I normally like to work, I'm actually going to run it through some EQ with this SSL channel just to add in some top end and just to shape the tone a little bit more. So the melodic idea that I have is quite atmospheric, so I'm actually going to add some delay and reverb. So I'm going to use this quarter note delay, and I'm going to add this space reverb, which I like to use a lot in my productions. I'm just going to dial these in and see how it sounds. Cool, so I'm quite happy with that tone. Let me get a couple of takes of this melodic idea that I've got going on. Alright, so keeping with the electric tones, I think it could be cool to double this part an octave down with a different tone. So for this part I'm going to use position 5B, which is a much gainier sound than the tone we used previously. And this time, rather than using any amp simulation, I'm actually just going to use the electric tone that comes straight out of the Acoustasonic, which is really, really good. So here's what it sounds like straight from the guitar. Taking the first electric we recorded, I'm going to pan that to the right, and I'm going to take this new one and pan it to the left. And just to kind of like change the tone up a little bit, I'm going to use some tremolo in Studio One, just a basic stock plugin. And just like the last tone, I'm going to add some nice delay and some atmospheric reverb just to give it that atmospheric vibe. Alright, so let's track this part. Alright, I'm going to add one more electric part. This part is going to arpeggiate the chords that the acoustic guitars are playing, but I'm going to filter it and send it to a bunch of delay and reverb just to create an atmospheric bed that sits underneath the entire track. Here's what the guitar sounds like straight into the computer again. I'm still in 5B, the same position that we had for the previous guitar part, but because these settings can be adjusted on pots, I can actually blend between the cleaner tone and the higher gain tone, so we can take the edge off a little bit. Quite happy with that. So like I said, I'm going to filter this, so I'm just going to add some FabFilter Pro Q3. I'm just going to use some high pass and low pass filters. I'm just going to take out some of the low mids as well. And I'm also going to send it to that same atmospheric space reverb we had. So rather than having this part straight up the middle with this much reverb, I'm going to pan this part to the right again. And I'm going to send it to a dotted eighth delay that I've got set up in my session. And I have this panned to the left, to the opposite side. And this way it just kind of adds some variation to the ambience so that there's something different going on in the left and the right speakers. Alright, I'm just going to turn down the two electric parts that we have already a small bit, and let's track this part. Alright, I've just done a little bit of rebalancing as we've built up the track, and let's have a listen to all the parts we've recorded so far. Okay, so I think that's it for the electric parts, but having listened to the track through, I think it could be nice to double up the melody at the end of the phrase with some higher acoustic parts, kind of fake 12-string kind of vibe. Adding some higher acoustics on top of your electric sounds can actually add some really nice clarity in a mix without having to resort to like boosting high end and stuff. So I've put my capo in a different position. And for this part, I'm going to use position 3A, which is a much like tighter and brighter sounding acoustic, which is great because it actually offers a natural variation to the, warmer dreadnought style acoustics that we used for the rhythm parts earlier. Again, I want this part to be quite atmospheric, so I'm going to send it to that same space reverb, but I'm going to add a lot more than I did on the other guitars. Alright, let's get our click back on and our cursor in position, and let's record this next part. And you know what, I'm actually going to double track this part as well. So let me just duplicate the track. Let's arm it to record. I'm going to pan our first take to the right, and I'm going to pan this one to the left. Now for this take, I'm actually going to use position 5B, which basically adds a body sensing pickup. It's pretty cool. On top of the acoustic tone that we just had. This is really cool for like percussive or finger style playing. One thing you have to be careful of though when you're tracking with your monitors on in the room is that the body sensing pickup will actually pick up and resonate the sound of the speakers. Kind of like if you were recording an acoustic guitar with a microphone, you normally wouldn't have your monitors on. Just keep that in mind that if you were going to track a lot of this tone in a song, you're better off wearing headphones so that you don't get any spill into your tone. That being said, I don't think that's going to be a problem in this track because there's so many layers going on. And this is just kind of a doubling layer on top of what we already have. So let's set our start position and let's record this double track. So I've tidied up all the guitar parts that we recorded, but I actually decided to add some keys and synths just to fill the track out even more. So here's what these sound like. It's basically just some atmospheric pads, an E-piano part, and some extra layers that just double up that initial guitar melody idea that I had. And so after some tweaking, some rebalancing, some basic EQ and compression, and just a rough mix on this idea, this is the finished result. Alright, so that was a quick track that I put together using the Fender ACOUSTASONIC Strat. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something. I'd normally be a bit more patient and put a bit more detail into nailing my takes, but it's surprisingly hard to play guitar right when there's also a camera recording you, so yeah. Big thanks again to Fender for sending this guitar over for me to check out. I really enjoyed it and I can definitely see myself using it more. On top of it being just a top quality and great sounding instrument, I also think it's an incredibly useful production and songwriting and studio tool. I can also see it being an incredibly useful live tool. So whenever live gigs return, I can't wait to take it out and play some live gigs with it. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and let me know what you think about the ACOUSTASONIC in the comments down below. If you want to see some more content from me, please consider subscribing as well, and be sure to hit the bell icon down below so that you can be notified of when I put out new videos. Anyways, thanks so much for watching and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.